Hi everyone, I'm Tressa Bowers, Vice President Chief Diversity Officer at 7-Eleven Incorporated. Today you're in for a treat. You get to meet Cynt Marshall. She has a lot of wisdom to share, and one of my favorite Cynt quotes is, "Diversity is being invited to the party, and inclusion is being asked to dance." Thank you all for joining us.
A lot of you Dallas-based team members will know who she is. She's the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, our favorite team here. She joined the Mavs organization as the CEO back in 2018, taking the helm as the first Black female CEO in the NBA. And we're going to use that word first a lot today, you know, just like the Mavericks team name itself. Cynt is a true Maverick in every sense of the word. And since taking the helm, her responsibility and her focus was making diversity and inclusion a powerful centerpiece for the organization. And she did just that. Now, for example, there were no women or people of color on the Mavericks leadership team when she started. Today, 50% are women and 47% are people of color. Let's talk Women's History Month. You know, there's so many things that we're going to talk about you today, Cynt, that are just an inspiration to so many. But I kind of want to take it back to maybe who paved the way for you. Who, as a female, was an inspiration for you?
My mom. I mean, I know it just sounds kind of cliche, but my mom, honestly. You know my story. You know, being born in Birmingham, Alabama, you know, in the Jim Crow segregated South. And you know your civil rights history, so you know there was a 16th Street Baptist church that was bombed and 4 young girls lost their lives. That was my mom's church. And so she left there 3 years prior to that because she had a vision for her kids. I was the baby at the time. There are 4 girls and 2 boys now, but she had a vision. And it wasn't easy. She landed in the housing projects, abusive husband, all of that. And she just kept us focused. She put 2 books in my hand, a math book in one hand and a Bible in the other, and said, keep your head in these books and you'll get out. And she taught us it's not where you live, it's how you live. And made education a priority, struggled a lot, had 3 and 4 jobs, had a set of values that she had us live by, and she's still my hero.
What do you think a woman can bring to the table as a leader that is very special to being female?
Well, first of all, I think we have a spirit of discernment. There's stuff that we can see that others cannot see.
Yes.
And so I have that. I think I also have the ability to really listen, not just hear people, but really listen. I think some of that also comes from being a mother too. Yeah. Just really kind of going deep into people's eyes, into their hearts. And I'm nice. I never bought into the stereotype that I had to be this tough, angry Black woman. Okay, so I never bought into that. I'm a nice person. I was taught to be nice. I was raised to be nice. My favorite book is called The Power of Nice, How to Conquer the Business World with Kindness.
Ooh, write that down.
It's a yellow book and has a smiley face on the front of it. I make all my leaders, everybody on my leadership team, I make them read it when they come to work on my team because it is about being nice.
What advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders, especially someone who would love to enter the space of a male-dominated industry?
Well, you know, fortunately for me, coming into this job, I grew up in a male-dominated industry. So I worked for AT&T for 36 years, so I grew up in telecommunications, technology, the first woman in so many different jobs. And so what I would tell them to do is have big dreams. Have big dreams. Wherever those dreams take you, go there. It doesn't matter if you've never seen anybody else that looks like you in those jobs. Somebody has to be first. And prepare. And that's my big thing. I prepare a lot. And just get ready. Get ready for whatever is out there. The sky's the limit. I mean, there's truly no limitations on women. We can do whatever we want to do, and we're going to do it better.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Oh, right. Stay ready. I mean, you just have to stay ready because you don't know what's coming. I mean, when Mark Cuban called me, I wasn't expecting a call from Mark Cuban.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What was that phone call like? What was that?
Well, I was getting ready. I was on another phone call, and so he was texting me, and don't judge me. Okay, don't judge me. I didn't know who Mark Cuban was.
I was worried you were going to say that.
Okay, and so I called him back. I ended up coming over here right next door, and it was a delightful 50-minute conversation with him telling me that, you know, what was going on in the organization, telling me about the problems that had just surfaced, and he asked me to be the CEO.
Wow.
And I asked him a lot of questions. I told him my brand was important to me, and I'd have to pray about it.
Oh my God.
I told him I had to pray about it. And so as I was leaving his office, 2 women stopped to tell me their stories. And that's what really, really caught my attention. Obviously, I was very impressed with him and impressed with his sincerity, his transparency, felt bad about the things that have been uncovered, but hadn't decided that I was going to do it. I mean, I was retired. I just retired. I'd started my own consulting company. I had a big client. I mean, life was good. I just got my babies out of school. I mean, life was good. But you know, I was called to do it.
You were.
When those 2 women talked to me and then I came back the next morning, prayed about it, I was in the building for 3 hours. Mark didn't even know I was in the building. And then he just came in the conference room. He goes, oh, I guess the answer is yes. You know, I told him I was going to go home, pray about it and all that.
Right.
He said, I guess the answer is yes. I said, yeah, the answer is yes.
Oh my gosh.
I just felt called to do it. And I've said it before publicly that I felt called to do it for the sisterhood. But when the sisterhood does well, the brotherhood does well. So I felt called to do it for both. Here's an opportunity, but for some reason, God has a plan. For some reason, I was uniquely qualified because of just some of the work I had done in the past to help this organization. And that's all I did it for. I just said yes to help the organization. And of course, you know, you think a little bit about what could it do for women overall, for the trajectory of women in sports and in business. And so that was kind of like a side project, you know, a side product. But I did it for the sisterhood.
Wow.
That's why the men matter too. The men matter too. So if you're a man listening to this, know the important role that you play in the careers of women. We're all in this together.
You said it. You said the sisterhood helps the brotherhood.
That's right.
Right?
We're all in this together.
I love that sentiment, and that's so important to say. Of course, we're talking about leadership today, Women's History Month, but that is so important to note. Okay, let's take it back to when you accepted the job.
Okay.
You knew the mission that was ahead of you.
Yes.
You knew what you were signing up for.
Yes.
Talk about the vision for the Dallas Mavericks to kind of set that standard for diversity inclusion in the NBA.
Okay, the vision that we set out, our vision is that we are going to set the global standard in diversity and inclusion by 2019. So that meant we just had a few months. And then I described what diversity was all about, what inclusion is all about, the business case for it, why it actually matters, why I felt it was the most important thing that we could focus on as an organization. So we didn't lay out anything about basketball wins or profitability. It was about diversity and inclusion because it really does hit the bottom line.
Yep.
And then after I laid out a vision, I said, and we'll have a set of values that we will operate from. They will not just hang on the walls, but they will operate in the halls. Everything we do will be based on a set of values. This is about values-based employment from now on. And our values spell crafts. So our hashtag is perfect our crafts. Character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety, both physical and emotional safety. And so that's the foundation that we stand on.
Yep.
So all of our leaders buy into it. Our workplace promise is that every voice matters and everybody belongs.
So as a female leader, Cynt, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
Ooh, probably my own thinking. Probably my own thinking about what I could and could not do. And worried about things that other people, you know, carrying their bags. Things that other people thought that a black woman couldn't do. And I'll give you an example of when I got promoted to officer. And the way that phone call went is my boss called, but then she starts telling me, telling me all these things that she wanted me to change. Now, about myself. And so when I was 21 years old and first started working for the company, I responded to that. I carry people's bags. My first week they said, take down your braids, get rid of your braids and your red shoes. I went home and I stayed up all night and I got rid of my braids and my red shoes. Okay, now I was still poor, and so my sister had to bring me some clothes, outfit. I mean, my boss had a vision of what she wanted me to look like. And so I responded to that. 19 years later, 40 years old, I'm like, no. You tell me to cut my hair and you give me a picture of, you know, I got nappy hair, so some stuff my hair won't even do, okay, that I don't want it to do, okay? There's some stuff my hair can't do and some stuff your hair can do, okay? And all that's good. And so she's telling me to cut my hair, stop using words like blessed. She says, no, you can just say lucky, not blessed. Well, I believe I'm blessed, okay? Stop being so bubbly, you know, kind of calm down your personality. I want you to wear this. Now, she did give me the St. John tip, though, so that was all right. I kept that, okay? And so, but she just had this list, and it was all just kind of superficial kind of stuff. It wasn't like legitimate coaching. And Cynt, here's what I think you can do better in meetings. Here, I think you present yourself. It was all just about look and what she thought an officer of the company, a female officer, should look like. I said, you're asking me to fundamentally change who I am. This is not how I thought this call was going. And so my husband's in the background because he heard me say, like, I'm not cutting out my hair. And he knew I was getting this call because I was telling myself, I think I'm getting promoted.
Right.
And so he's in the back like, you can go to my barber, I got you. And I'm like, stop, right? Because he's like, he knew where I was headed. And I said, you know what? I am so blessed where I am right now. And so, boss, you got to figure out how to help me tell them no, that I don't want this promotion. I'm doing great. They can give it to somebody else. I said, you have got to figure out how to help me. Because at this point, I'm thinking, I'm going to say no, and then what's going to happen? I mean, I'm 20 years in my career. I got kids now. I'm still going to have a job. And so she says, I think you're right. I don't think you're the right fit. And so she helped me come up with some words. And so she took those words back to the big guys. And within minutes, I got a call. Oh, and she wanted me to change my name. I couldn't be Cynt. She goes, nobody even recognized that. I don't know what kind of name that is. You can't be Cynt. You can be Cynthia or Cindy. And I'm like, no. Because most of the black girls that I grew up with, if their name is Cynthia, most of them, not all of them, but we're called Cynt. Yeah. And then the white girls I grew up with, they're called Cindy. Not absolute, but pretty much, right? And so because she didn't recognize, and that happens to me a lot, because people don't recognize Cynt as a nickname, they want to call me Cindy or Cynthia and tell me not to use it. And I just finally told her, no, I'm Cynt. I mean, you're going too far with this now. I've been Cynt my whole life. I mean, I was Cynt the sprint growing up, running track, right? Yeah. And so the guy calls me back, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. I mean, I can just cry thinking about it. He starts the conversation, and he said, Cynt, and he put an emphasis on it. I said, yes, sir. He said, I just heard about the call. Let's start all over. He said, the person who the board just elected to be an officer in this corporation is the person who I want to walk in that office in San Francisco tomorrow. I want you to love the people. I want you to be loud. I know you got that big cross outside your office that said, Lord, nothing can happen that you and I can't handle. He said, because I was looking at that when I was there last week. He said, I want all of that. I don't want you to change. He said, so let me offer you this job again. And so fast forward when I showed up to my first officer conference in San Antonio, or I guess it was Horseshoe Bay, and our chairman, Ed Whitaker, is standing there, and he looked at me and he said, girl, this is a long way from the Easter Hill Public Housing Projects. He said, you're one of 110. And it just hit me. You know what? I am. Like, I was one of 110. And so I had to finally wrap my mindset around knowing who I am, knowing I really do belong in certain places, get all this weird stuff and other people's baggage out of my head, put their baggage down, pick up my briefcase and my big purse, and go do what I need to do. I get that there are some times in your life, sometimes in your career, where there are just certain things that are just risky because of who you're working for, who's in the circle. It's risky. Yeah. And so you can't really risk bread on the table for the kids. That's kind of crazy. You need a long-term plan to do that. But hopefully you'll have somebody around you, or you'll be in an environment where somebody else will step up and take it on. Yep. Some people call them bystanders, some people call them upstanders. Yeah. Somebody who will stand up for you. Yep. And that's the role that I actually try to play right now. Right. That's the HASU moment. You heard of HASU?
No.
H-A-S-U. All you women out there say HASU. H-A-S-U.
What is it?
Hook a sister up. Okay? Yes. That's what we do.
I mean, that's it right there. You are so others oriented and pouring into others, which elevates you in so many ways. You've seen the blessings that have poured in because of the fact that you truly believe you're on this planet to serve.
I do. My favorite quote is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
Yes.
Cynt, we could talk to you forever. This is so good. I just want to give you a big 6 feet apart hug
on
behalf of 7-Eleven. Thank you.
I love 7-Eleven.
Can we do it?
I love 7-Eleven.
Do a little cheers in the air.
Yes, 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. Here's to you,
7-Eleven,
Cynt Marshall,
yes.
CEO of the Dallas Mavs. Thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate
Thank
Women's
you.
History Month with me, sharing so many nuggets. Every time there's more. Every time I interview, there's more good stuff.
You're amazing.
I hope so many things resonated with you watching. Thank you, Cynt.
You're amazing.
You are a gem, and Dallas is so lucky to have you.